What's going on, everybody? So this is something new that we're doing. Um, this is my best friend Oscar. Uh, we've been uh, we've been, I guess, at high level positions in the companies that we work for historically, um, and I've kind of been sitting around not doing much recently since my last business ended, and so I decided to start a new business. And I was telling him a couple weeks back that I felt like I needed an accountability coach, and I saw something online about an accountability coach. And I was even considering reaching out to the service, but in one of the meetings that we had randomly about other stuff that we do together, he was like, "Hey, why don't we just start meeting up and talking about things, kind of, and treat it as that, like just specifically sit down and have a conversation about business creation, staying on top of your goals, and things like that." So I proposed to him literally what 10 minutes ago. I was like, "Why don't we just film
Oh yeah.
why don't we just film the
Yes.
sessions, right? Just for accountability for myself to be able to like maybe review it in the future, as well as we're going to turn it into a podcast so that maybe you guys can hold us accountable to the things that we're saying in these meetings so that we can really see some changes in our lives. Because I mean, I don't know about you, bro, but personally, I could really use a little bit of an ass kicking when it comes to accountability and getting things done. Because I feel like now that I'm older, I am not as driven as I was when I was in my, late 20s, early 30s. I don't know how you feel about that.
About your assessment of yourself, I would say I agree.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Actually, I think that's why you offered, right? To say, hey,
Well,
why don't we just do it and see how it goes, right?
well, so I mean, I also feel that there's a lot of areas in my life as well that I think I could benefit from having someone to kind of hold me to account, even though eh, it seems almost ridiculous, but there is something. I don't know how or why, but when you know you have to present your progress to someone, it applies a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
and it helps you kind of stay the course, I guess.
Yeah. I definitely need that pressure. And I made that clear to you. So instead of belaboring this and dragging on the intro, why don't we go ahead and hop into it? So I don't know exactly because this is the first one.
Right.
I wasn't exactly sure of the structure. I did bring some notes
Okay.
as well as some things that I kind of maybe they're a little bit fantastical, like on the things I want to achieve, especially being such a new business. I mean, as you know, you know this. For those of you that don't know, my business is maybe a couple months old. That I decided to go down this path instead of going back to work and working for a Fortune 500 or 100 or whatever the hell, right? I decided to go down this path. So I brought some notes, but I don't know if there's anything in mind that you might have brought that you said, hey, you want to start this way or that way. I don't want to like completely rail this meeting, right? Take
Well,
over.
no, the way I was thinking was we kind of take turns, right? So one of us goes first. I guess we could flip a child, but or a coin. I don't.
We don't have any children here, and I don't think I have any coins with me.
It's a kind of someone goes first and kind of. My thought, the way I envisioned it, was relays what their biggest challenges are at the moment, things
Okay.
they kind of would like to turn around,
Okay.
and then we kind of start working from there.
Okay, perfect.
That was my thought. We don't have to necessarily
Well, let's do this. What do you choose, heads or tails?
tails.
So if you win, you start first, right? Okay, I'm going to ask Google to flip a coin, which I hate doing it this way, but since we don't have a coin, then we'll have to resort to this. Can you flip a coin?
It landed on tails.
Like that.
So there, okay.
Meant to be. So go ahead and I guess start us off in the first, I guess, inaugural success coach meeting, and let's see how it goes.
Okay, so for me, near term, there's a number of things that I want to go ahead and get down the pipe. One is go ahead and get all the stuff submitted for the partnership for the Power Beast stuff,
Okay.
the LLC, and that's kind of number one because we got to launch this summer. Is
there a date on that launch?
No, not yet. So this is kind of the whole point of talking about this.
Okay, cool.
So the LLC is kind of precludes the launch because obviously you can't launch if you don't have all your paperwork in place.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, I want to kind of get my music stuff via Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is going to be, getting that also going.
Okay.
And because I think I've been sitting on that also for, I want to say, over a year.
Easily, yeah.
And so those are really the two that are really eating at me at the moment.
Okay.
Those two. Now, to back up from there, I don't know if you want to jot that down. So it's the LLC for the partnership for Power Beast, and then the music, social media thing, I guess we'll call it that. And it's not that I'm a fiend for social media. It's just that's the easiest method or avenue of deployment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because yes, you could put stuff on Spotify, but I think with social media, you're kind of doing two things at once. You're both releasing things and marketing at the same time.
Right.
So it kind of helps you kind of work to an end. So anyway, that's why I landed on that. So for me, okay, so the Power Beast stuff, there's a book that I haven't finished reading. And I want to finish reading that book before I start submitting all my
A book.
documentation.
The legal book.
Yes. So that way I can make sure that I have access to all my questions in how I'm going to formulate this. Now, this is where I start introducing what I define as complexities. So for me, I wanted to have my LLC for myself that it's going to be used to partner with Power Beast. So that's why the Power Beast is kind of in a holding pattern until I get mine going. Then I can bring that to the partnership.
Gotcha.
In order for me to finish that one, I need to finish this book and finally make sure I get answers to all my questions and then formulate that structure however I feel is best for this situation.
Sure.
And I think I'm just going to reiterate what I've already told you in private. As you know, I haven't been reading recently.
Right.
And so what I decided to do was to build a little study in my place.
Yeah.
So that way that can be the designated area where I read and I study.
Right.
And so I started this week. I think you just saw today
I did first time, yeah.
It's not done, but it's pretty much almost done.
Work in progress, but yeah, I feel you.
So I'm hoping to be done with that by the end of this week.
Okay.
So before I pick up Mia. And I ordered some new chairs. This is dumb, but I ordered some new chairs so that way I can have the chairs there for the study. Those are supposed to be coming at the end of the month. But as long as it's already set up, because the good thing is because the table is at standing height, I can stand there and do what I need to do. So I don't need chairs.
Yeah.
I can start working
Now,
right, once it's done. So I'm hoping to be done with that by the end of the week. So which means that if I'm done by the end of the week, if we're meeting every 2 weeks?
Yeah, I thought that was the agreement, yeah.
Okay, so if we meet every 2 weeks, I want to have at least read by that point 6 chapters
of that book.
Well, from where I'm already at. I don't remember exactly what chapter I'm on now. But I want to, because I think it'd be 1 week. Okay, never mind. Because if I finish it by the end of the week, we meet from that point, because it'd be 14 days from today. The end of the week would be 5 days from now. So that leaves me 9 days. Okay, so now maybe not 6 chapters, maybe 3 chapters.
Wow, cut it in half immediately, huh?
Well, yeah, because I also, I only devote, because I'm also thinking about my rehearsals. I'm also thinking about the classes that I teach. I'm also thinking about the work that I do, right? And then also finishing up the characters for the Power Beast website.
Yeah.
So juggling that in the midst of all that. And then I also exercise and things to stay healthy.
So instead of the 6 that you had said originally, you're gonna do
3 because I have 1 week. Had I had this whole week, I would have said 6. But because I only have the 1 week, I'm gonna say 3. So what I'll do is I'll let you know what chapter I am on now.
Okay. So right now, with the other information you gave me regarding the Power Beast LLC, as well as the starting the social media, do you when you say starting the social media for your music stuff, does that mean having the initial conversations or actually getting it started?
So realistically, I guess having the initial conversations, and what I mean by this is kind of set a target map.
Okay.
Right. Let's say, okay, so not that it's going to launch, but we need to have footage to launch with. So that means I have to kind of decide what songs I'm going to record. So that's what I mean by conversation. Kind of try saying, okay, these are the songs I want to record. So that means I need to learn these songs by this point, have them arranged in whatever arrangement I'm going to perform them in.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, but I need to have all that already decided and ready by such and such point. That's kind of what I mean by that.
So right now, if you were to like just pick an arbitrary launch date for your social media, just so I can jot something down, like maybe like a soft idea for that target of launch, not target of conversation. That way there can be some sort of pressure applied. Because if we just say, hey, I want to have a conversation about the channel, I feel like that does push the project immediately already and extends it by 2 weeks, because it's like, oh, then you can come next 2 weeks and be like, oh, this is the date I want to do it. So if you had to say like, I want to be launched by X date, so that everything, conversations, filmings can happen between there and now, what would it be? Now and then, better said.
So what? Okay, well, before I answer that question, what is the? Let me understand what you mean by launch. By launch, do you mean from that moment forward? That's it. We're on a schedule and you're posting it regularly.
Correct.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the post schedule supposed to be?
Well, honestly, it can be whatever the hell you want. That's a cool thing. Like right now, you could literally, because look, there's not to go too long on this, but there's a few trains of thoughts, and I'll just give you two. One is you post a bunch of content as much as you can, just bombard it with content. That works, right? Because what'll happen is the volume of content will eventually, you'll get a few gems out of there, right? Because things will get better as you do it, and eventually one will hit and it'll start catching and it'll add followers. Okay. Or you can do the other one where instead of posting constantly, you just really focus on each post that you make, and you post a couple times a week or once a week or something like that, depending on what platform we're talking about. Right? I'm talking about YouTube. On Instagram, stuff like that, you have to be more engaging. But what you would want to do is if you want to do a higher quality video, like better produced, you can do that. Because if you're putting out less content but they're highly produced, those will also be good in the musical space because you are doing music. But if I were in your shoes, I would choose the abundance of content, like putting as much as I can out, because especially right now, one of the trends that's happening that's pretty hot is the like raw, like kind of raw looking content, like organic looking content, like things filmed with a phone or with like a little cheap camera. Like it's really popular right now. People actually the studies are showing that those are more favored than highly produced content, at least at the current moment, right? When it comes to like an independent channel, right? Of course, if you're doing like a video podcast stuff like that, people want to hear it clearly and see it clearly and stuff like that. But for someone like you who's doing an artist, that's what I would say. But it would really depend on your schedule. The cool thing is you already live an active life, so all you would have to do is remember to turn your camera on, because you don't live a lame life, a boring life. You know, it'd be different if you had nothing to do and you were always hanging out by yourself and not doing shit, but that's not the case. You're busy and you do stuff and you go dancing and you have practices and you teach students, and you know, of course you don't have to film your daughter stuff with your daughter, but I mean that could also be content, right? Like every now and then including little tidbits that your daughter makes you do and things like, you can really create a full story here. So it would literally be as easy as you just turning the camera on. So your life could be content, which a lot of people are really liking that right now, man. So that would be up to you.
Well, I hadn't really considered that. I was just thinking more along the lines of just the music is what I was thinking. Because, but
I would advise against that, because I think people want to have a cult sport. They want to follow like a cult of personality, right? They want. So if you're talented at music and that is at the forefront, but you also let them into the fold and let them see a little bit of your life, kind of what you're doing and what you're living, I feel like that would help boost your audience quicker, because you're giving them like a full rounded view of who you are. They can get connected to you, right? Not just the covers you're doing or the originals that you start doing in the near future. But with all that being said, it kind of goes back to what I said originally. You can do whatever the hell you want, however the hell you want to do it when you approach your channel. So all I'm trying to get out of you, I guess, is like, by when would you want to upload or have a target upload of your first video, so that from there to now, those conversations can happen, those filmings can happen? Because if we do hold it off, because what happens if next meeting we come and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm thinking that maybe this date we'll start having the talks, and that's another 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away or a month away. Immediately, because of the unwillingness to put that date, which is actually something we've talked about in the past, right, privately, that immediately delays that. right? Immediately we'll add 2 weeks, maybe more to that because we're not choosing a. Because I mean, what's the worst that can happen? We set a timeline like Elon Musk, right? We say we're going to deliver something by this time. The worst that can happen is we miss it, right? But at least we're setting a timeline and we're working towards it. I don't know if you think that I'm being a little too aggressive. Is it possible?
No, it's not that. It's just that I'm trying to decide how I wanted to approach this, right? Because I hadn't considered the whole putting my life out there angle. And the other thing too about that is obviously something I'm not accustomed to. That's not how I live my life. I don't really record myself
Right.
because I'm so caught up with what I'm doing. I need to get this done, right? Whatever the hell I'm doing, I need to get that shit done. So I don't pause, like, oh, look at me doing this. That's not how my brain works or how I operate because I'm always in a hurry. So it's like, boom, boom.
For sure.
So now I'm just have to decide if that's the approach I'm going to take. Then I have to figure out how the hell do I modify my lifestyle in a way that I remember to do that, because that's the challenge for me. I don't remember to turn the camera on. I don't, because I'm always in my moment. Whatever I'm doing, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think it's probably going to go back to what you always tell me, like, it's the habit that you build. You know, you tell me this all the time because, you know, we've talked about this and you talk about it a lot regarding fitness or work ethic or, you know, stick-to-itiveness or whatever. And you do say, like, it's the habit that you build that eventually creates the success that you want, right?
This is true, but then I don't know why I feel that I'm at a crossroads,
With what?
because that's not who I am.
So then why you do it? Why do it at all?
Because I just want to record music and put it on the internet. I'm not necessarily chasing I guess, all that. And so that's
interesting.
So that's
but
where
why do you want to put it on the internet then? Who cares? Why not just do music because you like doing music?
Because it's easier. Because I feel that if I don't start doing something, I'll never get to so like this is a stepping stone in the process, right? So I start putting, like, say if I get on a regimen of learning songs, putting them out once a week, like that starts getting me closer to, okay, then now that I have this constant pattern of, to your point, habit of learning songs, rearranging them, putting them out, then it gets me closer to my phase of writing my own songs.
Yeah.
Then once I write my own songs and start releasing those, and in the process garner an audience that is into what I do, right? Not that I necessarily am chasing it, but whatever audience is there, when I do release stuff, there may be some, I don't know.
It sounds like you're chasing it.
100 people, right?
It sounds like the way it sounds to me, just from like, well, I mean, this is what the meaning's for, right? But it sounds to me like you are chasing it, but you want it to fit your schedule, which it goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning, before we went down this road of planning and what strategies or whatever. It is whatever you want to do. So if you only want to record yourself putting music up and put music up, that's cool, man. Like no one, and if that, I mean, mate, what if that's the key? Because I literally was telling Giovanna yesterday. I was like, sometimes I feel like I get the algorithms, like I understand them, because I'll have a certain video that I produce for a client or something. It'll go take off or whatever, XYZ, right? And then sometimes I feel like here's a better produced video. Here's a video that is hotter, that to me is like, oh, this is perfectly edited. Like the everything is put together perfectly, and then it bombs. So what if what you want to do is the ideal way to do it? Now, there's stats and there's trends that would point away from what you want to do.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that won't work. We won't know till you start. Right? Because if you start and then you're a few weeks in or a few months in and you're gaining followers, then it's working. And if you're not and you're stagnant and we look at your view charts and they're really bad, then we know it's not working and we have to tweak it, right? And at that point, it would be, again, another decision on you if that's something you care enough to do, or if you just want to continue to repeat the recipe that is not working or working, right? So I think everything, though, comes back down to the initial thing that I mentioned. What's the date that you would see yourself wanting to start?
This is why that's why I asked the question, because to me, in order to be able to land on a date, I need to understand what the post schedule looks like, because that means I need to have an inventory of content already ready to start. Because I know that I feel confident that I don't have the time to be able to produce something every week to release every week.
I don't believe that. because according to you, before we started filming this, you told me that you religiously practice 40 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
So although this might go against your beliefs, and it might, and if I'm crossing a line here, please let me know. Couldn't you just convert? Obviously, I'm being exaggerated, but couldn't you just convert those 40 minutes of practice into 40 minutes of working on a song and filming it?
That's what I'm saying.
So if you do 40-minute bursts,
But
you
that
should have at least
no,
you
you're
should
right.
have the
But see,
ability.
this is where my regimented life is. Like that's for practice.
All right.
If I don't practice, I don't get better. If I don't get better,
But if you're playing every day and practicing, and they're putting out new songs every day, you are inherently getting better.
no, not musically, right? Not from a technical position, not from a finger dexterity. You know, but it's like things that I want to improve on.
Okay.
I know what you're saying. That's my point to the original point.
Yeah.
That's not who I am.
It goes back to the whole clay pot thing, right? Like the whole professor who, like, was the artist professor. I don't remember the exact story, and if I'm butchering it, I'm sorry. But the whole thing is like, oh, go out there and create one perfect boss, right? Go and make it and craft it and whatever. So he had a percentage, half of his students go create the perfect one. You're just gonna bring one, and then the other students were like, go out there and make one every day, make one every day, make one every day, make one every day, and we'll see who has the best ones. And of course, the ones who made one every day dramatically surpassed the ones that did the one. So even though I don't know if I can disagree or agree with you in the sense of like getting your finger dexterity and all that stuff, great, but I'm confident if you're playing every day, whether you're working on a song, you're still going to have incremental improvements. Now you might have bigger improvements dedicating specific time to like work on scales or work on this,
right,
but you're still going to see an improvement. And the thing is, you will be achieving a goal at the same time. And besides, you said it yourself, and I could be wrong, and I could have misunderstood you completely, but you're not looking to be a virtuoso XYZ.
No,
you're just looking to
but
be.
there is a level that I want to be at. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
Which is not virtuoso, right? But there's a level of proficiency that I want to be at, where I'm like, okay, I'm here, awesome. I'm happy that I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm not there yet, right? So that's why to me, I would need to carve out a separate window of time to learn these songs.
Maybe you don't have the time for that, man. You just said yourself.
That's why
pick I would say pick the. Is it possible to maybe do like an alternate, like one day full rehearsal, next day practice a song, next day full rehearsal? That way, if you do that alternating days, you're still rehearsing.
The challenge is though, I'm when I do that for the shit that we do for Tuesdays.
Why don't you just some of those songs that we do for Tuesdays?
Because I don't like those songs.
There has to be one or two songs in it that you like, man.
The songs that I've liked, that I've suggested, they've scratched. Remember?
But we know why, though.
But to my point, right? So that's the challenge I'm in, right? That's why when we talked earlier about the Tuesday rehearsals, I'm like, I'm gonna put when I look. If we're not gonna do shows, I don't want to be a part of this anymore because I'm down to commit and put the efforts required.
Okay.
But if we're gonna sit here and try to cry that where the performances be more flawless, like, dude, you guys aren't fucking practicing.
Yeah.
So stop lying to your fucking self. This is where we're at. This all the work you're willing to put in. I'm matching you on that as well.
Yeah.
And let's just do shows. Because if not, I could use those alternating days to learn these songs.
Okay, so let's hit the brakes on that because I can see how it's starting to snowball. I think it does go back to the same thing though that I started with. You can do whatever you want with your social media. If you want to put a song out a month, that's your prerogative.
So I think a song a week is good.
Okay, so song a week. So when would you like, if you could pick your ideal date right now so that those conversations can be had, the filming maybe can potentially start, the arrangement can potentially start.
So let's do the math. Okay. So every other Saturday, I can make time to learn a song.
Okay. Every other Saturday,
2 weekends a month.
Okay.
I mean, this is what I'm working with. So
okay.
This is why I'm telling you. That's why I'm asking the questions. I'm like, so let's say if I'm learning it and filming it that same day, which probably isn't ideal, but if that's what we're doing, that's 2 songs a month. So to have back inventory for a whole month, I'd have to have 2 months of recording?
Sure.
So the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't have any those Saturdays.
Okay, so then if you could pick an arbitrary date, what would it be?
That's a challenge because I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm like, okay, look, we're already in this Saturday. If I learn a song, next Saturday I can't. The 6th, I could do another one. 20th, I can do another one, and then August 3rd, I could do that's 4 songs.
Should we dance around? Get these lights back on.
Yeah. So
Did we stand up for a second? I don't know.
yeah, I think the sensor's over here.
The lights turn off on trigger to save energy. This is Oscar's penthouse. Nah, we're just kidding. It's my penthouse. No, I'm also joking. I don't have a penthouse.
So so that's what I'm trying to think. So now, so right now, because it's summer, I'm not teaching on Thursdays. So unless I can carve out some time on Thursdays as well to do this.
Okay. What are you thinking, October or what?
I was hoping sometime in August, but it's looking like it may have to be September.
September? September what?
What's the day that people usually post?
Mondays. The most popular days are Mondays and Wednesdays. Right now,
So I do hump day. 'Cause I love to hump.
some people you can also get some traction on Fridays, but I try to shoot for actually Tuesdays is a good music drop date. But I mean, but we could do Mondays. Why? What day you think in September? What then?
Because September 4th is a Wednesday.
Okay, let's do September 4th. September 4th is the plan. So to start, right? Okay, all right, great to start. So now we have that locked down. So regarding your LLC, when would you like to have? I know you have that. I know you had mentioned the meeting with the pastors to talk about maybe
Taxation.
yeah all that stuff. And I'm assuming you want to do that before
Right. Yeah.
getting your LLC. Is there a date for that set already or not yet?
Mhm. So I have to get back to you with the chapter I'm on, and then figure out how many chapters left in the book.
Okay.
Because I already started reading it. So
Okay.
So
TBD around that.
yeah. So let me figure out what chapter I'm on, then kind of go from there and do the math. So if I do 3 chapters a week, I can know when I'll be done, and I can know when I can sit the meeting.
Okay.
And then, obviously, it'd be great if you can be at that dinner.
Yeah, you had mentioned I'm definitely going to be there. I mean, I need to be there. As by the way, we're also that company is talking about Power Beast. We're partners in that company, so I think I definitely also have to probably have a similar structure set up whenever you have your setup, so that I can be equally layered and protected on the business. But that being said, okay, so is there maybe anything else? It sounds like right now you have 3 kind of medium to large goals. Obviously the large one being the social media, medium would be the LLC for Power Beast, and probably the other one would be which is I guess associated to that would be the read 3 chapters in the book by our next meetup, right?
Right. The other thing too is I need to create the SVGs for the characters.
Okay.
So let's see, what is it? What's the Oh, it's Juneteenth, bro.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it just turned
It just turned Juneteenth right now, yeah.
Happy Juneteenth.
No, happy Juneteenth to you as well. It happened here in Galveston.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did have in Galveston, yeah.
So the SVG for the characters, right? For the Power Beast characters.
Right. So I made the one for the girl, but I think I want to redo it because I used a different method. I used the.
Did you end up using the AI rendered designs or a mixture of the ones I did and the AI rendered?
The AI rendered design, but I used some tool that kind of traced the image that the AI rendered, but I find it very cumbersome to use. So I think I'm just gonna what I did with the other character. What I started doing is I started just kind of tracing it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So in Inkscape, so I'm thinking that's the approach
way
I'm
to
gonna
go.
take. Yeah, so I'm gonna redo the girl probably. I started working on the red dude. Doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
So the next time we meet on the 2nd, I want to have him done by then. Only because this is also kind of inhibiting the launch in tandem. I mean, obviously, for the beautification of the website.
Yeah. Which I don't think it's as important as you think it is, but obviously.
Well,
because I mean, I've already mentioned this to you before. As long as the code is like the engine is working appropriately, which I think is the most important thing, because we're going to be a brand new business, even if we execute a flawless marketing campaign, which we're going to have to definitely educate and we're going to learn some things when we hit Tyler, Texas, and we're still planning to do Tyler. We're going to learn some things about that region as well as who is investing in that region on the side of energy, right? So when we go in there, we're going to have a tiny budget for ad spends, right? Maybe borderline non-existent when we're looking at the major budgets that some of these other companies are spending. That being said, we're not going to be getting massive hits on our site. We're going to be getting hits for sure, 100% we will, but they're not going to be humongous, right? So we could, in theory, improve the look of the site over time, but we're actually getting the site getting action, seeing what's breaking on the code side, seeing what's happening if our customers are actually happy with the results they're getting. And it could be something where I'm not saying for us to like launch a hideous website, but it doesn't have to be fully beautified. It can be improved over time. But that's been my outlook for a while. But at the end of the day, if that's something that is incredibly important to you, then I'm not going to fight you on that, right?
Well, I guess regardless, we're gonna need them anyway at one point.
Yeah, we will.
So I don't think it's necessarily
Is
time.
Holly still handling the
Yeah,
actual
that's
design of the characters? Because that's going to be important for our ads.
So, well, I never asked her because she's clearly.
I thought you had asked her.
Yeah,
You
but
said you guys had like a lunch
Angel,
meeting.
Angel's the one that we're talking about
The puppet
puppets.
design.
Oh, well, they were waiting for me to give them the images of the characters. So, which is another reason why I need to finish this SVG so I can send it to them. The final look. Like this is how they're gonna look.
Right.
But so I think even if that's what I'm saying, I don't think it's time wasted doing this. It's still because they're gonna be used. But yeah, I thought you were referring to having Angel kind of redesign them and do them herself.
No. I think I don't know what Angel has on her plate, but
nothing. But they can't get shit done, so that's why I'm
well,
like,
I don't. I have no clue what
she still has to finish the painting. That's what I'm saying. So to me,
Oh
it's
yeah. And now even on that, I don't know, right?
No, but
You're telling
point,
me, right?
Yeah. To my point, I think she would be difficult to work with.
Okay.
I don't think she would be able to deliver on time deadlines. I think it would just stress her out. And it's just
and it's not a big deal,
right?
I've never worked with her, but I mean, you obviously know them for a lot longer. I guess
it's not worth it. I mean,
yeah, and that's the point I was making though. So I think if we're able to get Holly and Stocky, if we sit down and agree, hey, can you guys make this for us, and how much will it cost, and we kind of say, hey, do you think we can get it as quick as possible because we would like to film the ads to be able to launch them, because I think those puppets will be a big key to our advertising success, because I kind of already have a vision, and I think we've kind of even spitball on that vision, and we could make it pop, and it could be low budget, right? Because that's the cool thing too. Like we could essentially be pumping out tons of different ads for an incredibly low budget, which would really be great. Because imagine doing everything like CGI and stuff. That would be so expensive, man, and so time consuming. And why? When honestly puppets is going to be hilarious, right? And it's going to be an interesting strategy. But so we don't get off track on that either. On the SVG character finalization, what were you thinking on that?
So the next time we meet,
you want to be done
with one of them.
With one, okay. One completed.
So that would be the 2nd, right? July 2nd.
By July 2nd. Awesome. Okay, great. So just to recap, we have on your end LLC for Power Beast to be announced or to be decided. We have the we have your social media for your music that will be decided however you want it on your post schedule by September 4th. That's the I guess expected or desired start date. Yeah. You're going to be reading 3 chapters of your upcoming, of the book that you for your business book, the business book that you, what's the name of the book? Just for anybody that cares.
Start Your Own Corporation.
Start Your Own Corporation, right? You had mentioned that to me. So Start Your Own Corporation, you want to read 3 chapters from where you are right now by the next meeting. And then you also have your design and finalize at least one character. Finalize the SVG for one character for Power Beast by July 2nd. Okay. Is there anything else that you think you want to?
Well, no, those are the 2 big ones, in my opinion.
Okay, awesome, man. Oh, yeah, great. So, do you think you're wrapped up for kind of what I'm going to hold you to, I guess, for next meetup?
Yeah, I did want to talk about. I wanted to kind of mention something. to no, I don't know if it fits in your mold. So there's this, and I can't remember the name of it. There's this model for development workflow, and I forgot the name of it. But essentially, what it is you have a. And the only reason why I mention it is because I've used it on several occasions in tandem with my whole, you know, quadrant of things like urgent, not urgent. I mean,
Right, I remember the
urgent,
breakdown.
important, not urgent, not important.
Yeah.
That whole thing. And what it is you once you've decided what is in your queue, right? You have your to-do list, and then you have what work in progress, which is in the middle, and then you have your done, what is done, what you finished.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention that because one of the interesting things that I think that works well is there is what's called a threshold on what's work in progress. Like there's a limit you set. You're not allowed to have more than so many things in your work in progress list.
Okay.
So things are either
It's an app. Would you say it is?
there's probably an app, I'm sure.
No, no. Did you say it was an app or it's just
a paradigm,
workflow? Okay.
a workflow paradigm, and it's used in development work for because there's agile, and then there's agile is just kind of more of a, I guess, a philosophical view on how work should be done, and this kind of falls under the umbrella of agile.
Okay.
I forgot there's no name for this, but essentially there's the to-do list. I guess you can say it's on the far left, and there's what's called work in progress or WIP. It's in the middle, and that's when you move something from your to-do list to your work in progress. You're working on it, and then you have your done list. But there's a threshold on your work in progress. Like you can only have so many things in that list in order to reduce,
Actually make progress and stuff.
make progress and reduce quality control, right? To make sure that what you're delivering is good quality.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about that because I don't know if it's something you've ever thought about in your day to day, but I've used it a lot whenever I'm kind of have a big project and I'm like, I got to really, because it forces you to have to break things down into sections. Because if you know you can only have 3 to 5 things in your work in progress queue, then you start strategizing. Okay, so phase 1 should be this, phase 2 should be this, right? And you kind of start being able, because you know that your limit is 3 to 5 things in your work in progress queue. So you do your best to segment the work out. And it's something I wanted to mention to you.
Do you have the format? Because look, man, I'm down to. When it comes to productivity, I've actually been trying a few different things, but one of the key things to productivity that I've noticed is that you actually have to do shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, which has been the. So I definitely do stuff, but I noticed that I'm like I know somebody said this before, but I'll repeat it. I'm literally like a dog.
Kanban. It's called the Kanban method.
Kanban? Can you send that to me? Would you mind?
Kanban. Kanban.
Yeah.
It's a Kanban board.
Okay, K
Kanban.
A
B-A-N.
Okay.
Yeah. So in its basic level, it's your to-do list, the far left, your work in progress in the middle, and you're done. That's the original way.
Yeah.
They've kind of modified it over time. So they'll have now a lot of people what they'll do is they'll have they'll have the to-do list, work in progress, and then a review.
Okay.
And then done. It's kind of an extra column that things are in review by someone else. That's not you, right? That's kind of, but
yeah.
In the case, because you're not really using it for development work, because in the cases that I used it, I didn't use it necessarily in development work. I discovered it when I was learning how to program, but I thought it was an ingenious idea and I applied it to just in general life. Like I was like,
and it works.
And it works because
for you.
Yeah, because you figure out what is your threshold. Because everyone is different. Some people can only have 3, some people can have 5, some people can have 10 things in the work in progress queue. And that's kind of where you kind of figure it out. And then once you figure out that sweet spot, then it helps you align everything else because you know that you can work in phases.
Yeah.
In these phases, you can only have, for example, if you can only have 3 items in your work in progress queue, then you start everything that's on your to-do list, you start organizing it in phases. Because you're like, this is my end goal.
Yeah.
I know that I can only have 3 things in my work in progress queue. If I can close a loop every week or every 2 weeks by having 3 things in my queue, then you can start, everything is kind of start stacking, right? You're like, okay, boom, I can be done by this point, whatever, right? And I wanted to talk about it. But it's called Kanban, Kanban.
Kanban. Okay.
Yeah, they call it a Kanban board.
I will check out the Kanban board. That'll be one of my things to look at this week. And I think I don't know why, man. I think you've brought this up to me before. I just don't think I ever looked at it because I think I remember you talking about the priority list. So what I did, and I think I told you this. The one of the reasons why we decided to start having these meetings is kind of when I had like a mini. It wasn't an emotional breakdown, but it was definitely like a come to Jesus moment for me regarding like my success and wanting to be the man I used to be and more, right? Because I feel like I've really been lacking and slacking, right? But what I had done this year is I essentially wrote down 10 goals that I wanted to achieve before the end of the year. And I don't remember the guy who came up with this method. But this is literally the outline. So write down 10 major goals, and I'll just give you a few here. Lose weight. Currently I weigh 230. I want it to weigh 180 for the end of the year. And
180.
Yeah, 180. Now again, these are again the reason why we started this meeting. Another one, I'll just give three. I want to have a more loving relationship with my girlfriend. And another one is I want to be a talented and a successful social media manager, right? Social media, I guess, business owner, whatever. And what I did is out of all those things, I after choosing 10 different goals, I wrote them all down. These are what I consider to be my biggest priorities. And then what I did is I highlighted one because according to the method, you're supposed to highlight one. So I highlighted one, and that is I am a talented content creator, right? Was filmmaker, producer, all that stuff, right? To be able to help on the social media side. And so after doing that, I did 10 different tasks that I am to perform on a daily basis to become a talented content creator. But like I mentioned, all these tasks were to be performed and were to be executed and were supposed to be delivered by May 31st, 2024. May 31st, 2024 has come and passed, and I've only achieved about 35 to 40% of these, right? Which is sad because when I started this was in February, I think the second week of February. So for this not to be accomplished, and the thing is, I'll give you a few examples of these, right? Finish my filmmaking course, which I finished that. Film at least one piece of content per day. I don't do that. Take a couple CapCut and other editing software courses. I've done that. Edit at least one piece of content per day. I kind of do that. That's why I'm saying I'm kind of doing these things right. Take multiple social media courses. I'm doing that, and I've done that. Post on social media at least twice a day. I don't do that. Now I do that for clients, so I guess I do that, right?
Oh.
But so yeah, okay. But I'm not going to go through the entire list, but I did a total of 10 off that one, right? And like I said, I would say that I'm doing about 40% of that, right? But I'm not where I need to be, where I think I should have been. And that's because I did spend a lot of time goofing off and getting distracted and XYZ, which is why we started these meetings. So that's kind of the program I've been using. So if you look at my calendar, in my calendar every single day, I have these 10 things. And so just because I'm not mentioning all of them, I don't know if the camera will catch it, but just so I don't have to list them off, I'll put it right there. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe it can, maybe it can't. And so those are the 10 off that one. But I'm definitely down to try your method. The biggest struggle that I have, and I've mentioned this to you, is because I'm like a dog chasing cars, and I don't, outside of this that pops in my calendar every single day, I get like a notification like this is next, this is next, this is next. I am a dog chasing cars. So I am very easily distracted, or I'll be like, something will take priority over something else. And that is something that I have to get a grip of, because when I'm employed for someone else, I don't have that issue. I have deliverables and I execute on those deliverables and they get them because they're paying me to give them a service. But when I work for myself, for some reason or another, when you're supposed to work for yourself a little harder than you do for others, I'm the opposite. I kind of give myself a little more break. But that's not here nor there. That's the method I've been using. So I will definitely try your what is it?
Kanban.
Kanban method. I'll try the Kanban method. I will
Kanban
look
board.
Kanban board. Okay.
So the challenge with the Kanban board, and this is interesting that you're kind of relaying your current methodology, because I've seen a few videos on YouTube about developers and self-taught developers, and it's interesting because when you watch one video, then YouTube starts serving you
Of course.
multiple videos on the
Of
same
the same
topic.
thing. Yeah.
So I ended up watching, I think, parts of 2 or 3. I watched one, but then I watched parts of 2 or 3. But it's interesting because it sounded to me as though they were all kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And watching these videos, one of the things they were saying, and I think it's true because I unknowingly went down that path. Ultimately, what they were saying is that you can take all these coding boot camps, you can do all these courses, but you're never really going to learn how to be a programmer unless
your mic's tilting to me. I don't know if that's gonna pick you up, but yeah.
that you're never going to learn how to program unless you decide you pick a project and you finish it. Like you go and you do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think the Kanban method works a lot better when you are under that type of
Pressure.
or a work scale, right? Because you have a project you have to deliver, you
Yeah.
have a sequence of events that need to occur, you have a sequence of targets you got to hit. And so it's this constant flow of like
Boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom, boom, boom.
And that's kind of how I did it myself, because I was trying to figure out this algorithm. How do because it was problem solving, right? And you remember you were part of the conversation. It's like, oh, I ran into this problem. How do we solve this problem? And then boom, I'm sitting there and I'm having to learn how to do this. I'm learning how to do that. And it forces you to kind of think more holistically, as opposed to learning one thing and then kind of being like, okay, cool, now I know how to do this. Now what else? So to back up again, I don't know exactly what forms of video you may need to be well versed in. I'm assuming for social media it's not a long list, but I wonder if you would be better served if you decide to also do other forms, maybe a little longer form, maybe like a short form video, maybe do a short movie, right? Maybe that's like 10 minutes.
Sure.
Then maybe work on a documentary type video that's 20 minutes, right? Have these different projects that are going to require you to shoot footage and think through all of this in scenarios that you probably won't ever use in social media, likely not, but that'll get you in the habit of managing just project in general.
Projects at scale, like a bigger projects.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree. And I've been thinking along the lines of that, but I've been a little too chicken shit to venture down some of those paths, just being full disclosure, because that's the whole point of this meeting, right? And that kind of leads me into since you touched that topic, that kind of leads me into what I want to achieve in this, in the short term, in these next couple of meetings. I want to be working a lot more with my camera gear. As you know, I'm getting ready to grow my camera gear by double or triple. We've been talking about it, right? And there's no need to go into all that, but grow my gear, which that's happening now, making the bigger investment into my business, and that's going to be happening by the end of the week, beginning of next. I'll be growing my gear by quite a bit. Also, right now I need to start filming not just more social media ads for some of these small businesses, different types of businesses, to the point where I'm even I am going to be, for at least the next 5 or 6 people, I'm going to be doing it absolutely for free. So I'm going to not do their whole strategy and everything, but no, filming their ad and giving it to them and being like, hey, I can post it for you, and if you want, or you can post it yourself and do it in this way. Tag this, do that, just like this. And then if you want to put some money behind it, put X amount of dollars behind it and target this region where you're like, literally give them the cheat codes all for free and be like, do it. And here's the ad, right? Because what that's going to do for me is it's going to allow me to really work on my craft. But recently I've been thinking, how do I get more clients? Because I don't want to compete, even though it's funny. I don't want to have to compete with the tons of other people that are offering video services and social media services online to other people. I want to kind of do it a little backwards, which is funny because I'm a social media marketer and video creator. I kind of want to go to where they are and use my skills in like door-to-door sales and direct to sell, like direct to consumer, so they can meet me, get a feel for me, and then be like, okay, this is who he is, and then pretty much use my verbal jujitsu to get them to agree to do. Again, get something for free, right? Or not for free, without quote. It's legitimately for free. There's gonna be no back end, no ownership on my end. It's gonna be completely their ad, right? And so I was thinking about not only doing that, but then filming that process as well, like the process of me giving them the ad. Do you see what I mean? And turning that into a product and putting that on the channel. Be like, hey, this is like filming myself, offering the service, them accepting the service, filming. And I think there's a few people that do that on social media already, but actually going out to the customer and doing that, because I don't want to, because my business is so small, I don't want to dedicate dollars that can be used for education, can be used for software, can be used for gear, and put it into ad spends at the current moment, when I feel like I should go out and really hone in my skills. I feel like I'm an okay videographer, but that's it. I want to be good. And I think okay and good, there's a there's a big threshold from okay to good. You know what I mean? So that is one of my main goals, which is why I would like to. So the way I did it is, so I essentially I put in a prompt into ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT. I said, ChatGPT, this is what I do. I have a brand new business. I am a social media marketer and filmmaker. I have over 10 years of experience in business development and marketing. I have launched, this is literally the prompt. So I'm not, I was like, I have launched multiple uh, um, social media as well as traditional media campaigns in the Hispanic market, in the regular English market for energy companies, right? It's focusing on the retail energy providers, right? If you were my life coach, business coach, what should I do? And so it spit out a bunch of things and a bunch of like strategies on how to do it, right? And so I essentially took those and I created like a dummy page, right? And so some of the things it said were a little bit are a little unachievable in the short term, right? But it definitely gave me a few ones, like for example, acquire 3 new clients in the next month. I think that is a goal that I want to add for myself, for the reason that I think that I can confidently get 3 new clients, especially when I'm looking at it from me starting to offer, if not on a daily basis, maybe on I don't know, every 2 to 3 days, go out and search for a client to give them a video for free, right? Because I think what'll happen, and I could be wrong, but I think if I give, some of those people will get business out of their ads, right? Maybe a few of them, especially if they execute exactly how I deliver it, and then they'll be like, "Well, can we get another one?" Be like, "Yeah, that's X amount." Or they might be like, "Hey, this guy," maybe they tell their buddy, "Hey, this guy made this ad for us, and it got us 5 clients. It got us 10 clients. It got us 30 clients. It got us 1 client." Because if they sell a pool, like with Michael's pool, and the guy makes 30, 40 G's on the building. I don't know what the guy made on the pool, right? But you know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're like, hey, this guy's gonna charge you, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 for the ad, which is, that's not what I'm charging, but I'm kind of painting a picture on the scalability, right? And then we made 30 grand off that, right? So if that occurs, then I think that's achievable. Plus, that'll also get me out of my comfort zone, in the sense of like, I'll finally get off my ass and go start approaching, right? Which will get me back in my sales game. Second, it'll also allow me to film and improve on my filming side. As you know, I'm very proud to say that I got booked to go to that Colorado trip to do all the filming. I'm super happy about that. That's going to be exciting, and it's, we're in Houston, so I think it's cool for. Having a business that's only a couple months old on the social media, and but I digress. So that's one of my short term goals. The second one is I want to take a storytelling course, which is something that I have almost accidentally on purpose neglected. I've taken all this other stuff, but I haven't taken a storytelling course. I feel like I'm a good speaker. I'm a good sales guy, but I don't think I'm a good storyteller. At least I don't think I am. So I would like to take maybe 1 to 2 storytelling courses from here till our next meeting. And what I mean by courses is maybe like buy a course online from
I wonder how many courses you're going to talk about the hero's journey.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man.
Curious to see.
But yeah, and we've actually talked about the hero's journey, right? That's obviously like a storytelling a method.
Yeah, it's just for
Tried and
whatever
true.
reason. Yeah, it's just humans in general. That's just kind of, and that no matter what movie you see,
Yeah,
that's what's in there.
it works.
Yeah.
It works, yeah. So I guess maybe that's something not a bad idea for me to write that down. And just to recap, so for me, in the next month, I already have that down. Get 3 new clients, like I told you. Second, for me to take a storytelling course, and I'll go ahead and put here the hero's journey. Okay, hero's journey. Put that look into it. Look into it. When I have to write on the go, it looks like chicken scratch, but who cares? It's my writing. It's for me anyways. But
So you're saying 3 new clients by July 18th?
yeah. So a month from now, 3 new clients. And again, those can come in any shape where I'm doing a free video or I'm doing just as long as I'm working for someone else, right?
So you should have about what? At least 1 new client by the next time we meet?
Yeah, at least.
What is your definition of 1 new client that they're actually going to start hiring you?
Correct. And I have a feeling, which it call it an intuition, I guess, or something, that it'll be more than that. But I don't.
You're talking about July 2nd.
But I don't want to July 2nd.
Yeah, the next time we meet.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Wait, 1 new client that's paying me by the next time we meet?
Because if we're doing 3 and 4 weeks, it's about 1.5 in 2 weeks.
Okay, I'll accept the challenge. I'll accept the challenge.
I know it's a short window, but
I'll accept the challenge.
just to kind of have a progress, right? Start a trend in the right direction.
And I don't know why, and I don't know if other people have this, and I don't know if this ever happens to you, but when I used to sell for businesses, I felt like there was a new client around every door, around every corner, inside every house. And I would always get on my sales guys. I'd be like, hey guys, like, whenever they would have advances, I was like, why are you guys struggling to close? What's the issue to closing? Why can't you close clients? Because I feel like there's so much business everywhere. But for some reason, and I even believe that, like in my previous business, I believe that as well. Furniture business, my lawn business, believe that. And it was true. But for some reason, in this business, I feel like there's no clients out there that want me. It's the dumbest thing in the world, but I'll literally be sitting behind my desk. I'm editing something or something I film, I'm producing it, I'm getting ready, or I'm posting something, or I'm doing like I said, I'm doing a mastermind, or I'm doing some sort of online course. And I'm like, there's no clients out there for me. Like, and so there's just been this weird level of procrastination to go out and seek out clients. But I think a piece of it is that even though I know I have certain skills, I'm afraid of over-promising and under-delivering my clients because of the okay to good gap. Which is why I think I'm utilizing the free route, because it's like, if I give somebody something for free, it's like, hey, what was free, bro? Like, I again.
What'd you expect, lobster?
and that's kind of the thought, right? Because it does make me think that and I know I'm good enough to give them something of quality, but I think maybe what it could be, and it's funny because I hadn't encountered this till like right now that we're having this conversation. I think it could be a lack of confidence in this, because I think if you were putting me to run a sales group, I wouldn't think twice, because I know I can run a sales group. If you were putting me to manage a medium to small business, I know I can manage that business, right? If you were putting me to run a door-to-door group, I can do that. But because this is like, hey, film them, give them strategy, give them a catchy, cool ad that's going to stand out, and then properly target it, put it out, then properly create the click funnels that maximize their dollars, and so on and so forth. I have this weird lack of confidence that is weird, because like I tend to meet my moments a lot, but I have that, and I'm struggling to overcome that, man. I don't know. I almost feel like I have a weird fear.
You
Of,
gotta hit the field, man. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Because you have
reps,
Yeah.
repetition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. Gotta get it. I got that's and I'm hoping to accomplish that with the other goals I made, but that's the third one is get rid of that feeling of like
That's what I was saying. So it's in my mind. I'm thinking, okay, when you are approaching these people or businesses, you're gonna maintain a log of who and when and all that, right?
what do you mean?
Like who you approach, when,
Yeah, I have to keep a detailed log.
like
Yeah.
the address, like because that way you can start kind of identifying trends, right? So, for example, let's say for whatever reason in this region and these zip codes, you seem to close better, right? All these little details that will help you kind of be more judicious in who you're targeting.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jot that down, like tracking metric on the who, the when, the where. So is the lose weight kind of like not on the radar at the moment?
Yeah, I was actually talking to Josiah earlier.
Okay.
I reached out to him because he has this macro food tracker that he uses, and I was asking him like, hey dude, can you hook me up with that? And then he sent that over to me, and um he also asked me, hey, do you need a coach? And I was like, no, I don't need a coach, man. Like, I think I just gotta get, because I just gotta do it. Plus I told him, I was like, look bro, I'm not trying to do what you're doing. You right now, you did it on your own for so long, and then now you got a coach because you're going into the natural bodybuilding stuff, and you want to make sure you're in peak in the few months when you go into competition. I go, but I'm not looking to compete. I'm just looking to lose some weight so that I can overall feel better. Uh, and so that is on the radar. But when I mentioned earlier, just to say, so I'll include that because I need to do that. But when I read that earlier, I was reading just specifically like
No,
the
right.
goals for the year.
That's why I'm
which-
asking
Yeah.
if that's on the radar. Same with being a loving partner. Is that on the radar? So, okay, let me back up. To be honest with you, man, I personally don't really try to chew more than I can swallow. I know it's not,
I'm sure just falling off, dude.
I need bigger titties. But so why I say this is because in my case, for example, there's really, I don't know if you recall, but there was really only three things that I was focusing on.
Right.
And one was the Power B stuff, the other was music, and the other one was being a better father to my daughter.
Right.
And everything I did revolved around those three things. And I'm asking this because I think I would imagine the same applies to you. You could really only focus on so many.
Oh, that's what it is, man. You're putting the pack magnet too low. So put the magnet at the top because you're putting it at the very bottom of the clip. You see that? So it keeps wanting to tilt down. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a mic, DJI mic,
Of course.
yeah, placement course. So I also don't want you to kind of be overloaded with so many things that you kind of like are lost even in that.
Right.
Personally, unfortunately I do exercise a lot. Not a lot. I exercise every day, but I think it's just more a habit. I don't. It's not because it's not necessarily an ambition of mine in terms of being healthy, but there's benefits to it. You know, you feel better. You don't have ailments of whatever order. But so I don't include it in as part of my trifecta, I guess. Although effectively it's there. Because like today I went to go jog 6 miles and you were talking about how I dropped that bomb and then said I'm going to be unavailable for the next 30, 40 minutes because I'm going to go on a jog.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but it's a habit, right? It's just
Right.
something
Right.
that I
Right.
do.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I think I would recommend personally to also you choose kind of three things and that way we can kind of track this and see where you're at. So if losing weight is one and being a living partner is the other, they don't have to be, but if those are the other two, then you should probably kind of come up with some targets because just for reference, the social media manager stuff, you kind of have at least like 4 or 5 things you're going to be following up on.
No, there's. I mean, I wrote them down as well. It's take a storytelling course right from here to our next meetup.
So
According to what you said, because I had acquired 3 clients in the month, but I acquired 1 client, and then track the metrics, right? Which is something that I feel like it's part of the acquiring the client. So that could be
so right. So the client. So what I'm kind of speaking to is, yes, that's a longer term goal for the next month, but now we're gonna have that midpoint between here and then. So that's
what you said, acquire 1, right?
right, because 1.5 is a little hard,
Right.
but
Arguably, yeah.
and so what I'm saying is you have these targets to get you on the trajectory, right?
Yeah.
You have these targets to get you on a trajectory. So that's why I'm asking about those, because I would argue that we also need some targets to get you on the trajectory for those 2 other overarching goals. The weight
I
and then
would
the being a loving partner. The being a loving partner, man, that one's a tough one because relationships are tough, and I think it's especially with you guys, because you guys have been in this weird dynamic for so many years. There's a lot of history
Sure.
that I think would have to be undone somehow.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a little bit of a tougher challenge that I couldn't pretend to be equipped to advise on.
Sure.
I just can speak of observations, but I think that when you speak about your relationship, it almost seems as though you either ignore the past or pretend like it never happened. And the thing is that is never going to go away, you know?
Yeah. And perhaps that is the way I speak about it. It could be, it could will be very possible that that's the way that I am portraying it, or the way I feel. I don't know, because I don't, at the current moment, I don't recall those conversations, nor am excited to bring those up, right? But I will say that I guess because it is part of my overarching 2024
Right.
list, I think it is definitely important
It is.
to look at that and maybe set a plan of attack
Right.
for how to be a more loving partner. What I can say is that I can commit when it comes to, like, today, I'd be willing to commit to going. So I've been wanting to do this, and I've been hit and miss the last couple of weeks, but I've been wanting to go back and work out on a daily again, right?
Okay.
And what I mean by on a daily, I'm not mean I'm going and I'm doing a Spartan race, but go to the gym, dude. Like, walk a treadmill, lift weights for an hour, right, or whatever, and just separate an hour and do that. Because you know how I am. I like, I'll go to the gym, or I'll go to my gym in my place, and I'll just hit that hour long, right? So what I can commit to, and I can think on the becoming a more loving partner, so I'm able to actually come with value and be like, look, this is what I'm planning to do. Because I would hate, like you said, I think both of us, I agree with you. I'm also not equipped to know how to tackle that. So what I could do is not maybe, in these next 2 weeks, I don't want to say it'll be an afterthought, but it'll be like in the back of my mind to maybe look up and see if there's a way or two, just by searching, watching some videos or looking up some articles, and coming up with maybe 1 or 2 things that I would like to do to help become a more loving partner. But is it okay with you if I address that in the following meeting? Because I
Okay.
think I'll be more equipped to discuss that. And for now, on the losing weight side, I will commit to returning to the gym and going to the gym on a daily basis. And I will let you know, like, how many days I skipped or missed, or if I skipped any days or whatever. That way you're able to be like, hey, dude, I thought you said from that meeting forward you'd be going to the gym every day, right? And obviously our main goal in this meeting is for us not only to hold each other accountable, but to also approach this meeting with honesty, right? Because I don't want to come and BS you like, yeah, dude, I went every day. Every single day I went to the gym, and then, you go and you're like, well, let me see your 24-hour fitness app. And you're like, dude, it says you went once, right? Or whatever, right? So I'll commit to that
Every day in exercise.
every day. Yeah. Now I will say this. it's healthy to take one day off. So what I'll do is I will be taking like one Sunday, like a Sunday off every Sunday. Sorry, better said, because it is good to at least take one day of rest, right? As you know this.
Yeah.
So 6 days a week. Okay. Go to
So I'm assuming you're gonna start a workout journal, diary.
well, I normally have, like, I already have spreadsheets of that, but I wasn't planning on returning to those. I was just planning to go to the gym every day and just say, like,
Yeah, just kind
Yeah.
of. I did
went
this
to the gym.
today.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that.
Just so that we have something tangible that we can look at.
6 days.
Not that I don't believe you, but
Well, I'm not gonna lie about it, right? Because I mean, I'm like I told you, the whole point of this is to come and be honest. Like, for example, same thing with like the clients. Let's say I end up not going looking for any clients, and I come and tell you, hey, bro, why continue to have that fear of like that fear of inadequacy or whatever it is, and I didn't do it. Then that's when it's like, well, okay, well, we gotta put you in check on that because that's the whole point of this. If not, if we're gonna sit here and talk for an hour or an hour and a half, and then not deliver on the deliverables that we agree that we're gonna do, like to hold each other accountable for, then what are we doing here, right? And unless we just like start implementing some sort of like cash thing, like, oh, you didn't do it, you owe this much to the beer fund or whatever it is,
Right.
right?
the processing fund. I'm curious about. I remember you speak about in the past when you were single and stuff. I have a curiosity because I wonder if maybe we're kind of operating in different pretenses, right?
Okay, can you elaborate on that?
So, for example, in my case, with my special friends,
What do you mean by that?
what's that?
What do you mean by special friend?
Friends that we practice AI.
Oh, okay, the ones that are helping you code AI. Got it.
No, fucking with. Imagine.
I know what you're talking about, dude. I'm not an idiot.
Nah, actually, we don't do the anal intimacy either. The actual AI. But,
Okay.
although, of course, I mean, if they were to request it, I wouldn't oppose. Although, it's a funny story. So I went out dancing with one of them, and I don't remember how I came up with conversation. So then, in that same topic of the AI anal intimacy, we started talking about lube and stuff like that, right? Because you have to lube up, I'm assuming, to do that. And then we started joking about using coconut oil as an actual lubricant.
Do you have coconut oil at the house? You do,
So
right?
I do now, because this is what happened. So
Terrible, dude.
what happened was
It's hilarious, though. Okay.
we went to the CVS over here on Westheimer and 610. I told her, if we go to the CVS, because I honestly was convinced that they wouldn't have it because it's a very random thing to have at a fucking CVS.
Yeah.
Coconut oil. So the wager was, if we go and they have coconut oil, then she's gonna have to, have AI.
Yeah.
And so we show up, dude. Not only did they have coconut oil, they had 3 options of it.
Wow.
So she went with the cold pressed, fully organic. But yes. Ended up having to practice some AI that evening.
Oh, you did?
Yes, because we had wagered on it. I didn't think they were going to have it at CVS, coconut oil.
¿Cómo se persina la gente? It's down, left, and then right? Or
down, and then left and right. And then the kiss.
Santo Dios, bro.
Dude, I was... And then...
Wait. How are we in this story? Yeah,
because we're talking about I was going to ask you a question.
Okay, good. Sorry.
Because I feel that it's... Even though obviously I love having sex with everybody, I would imagine everyone does. But I do find myself where I get frustrated too, because I do know that this takes time to be with these people. And then and obviously because I have a small, albeit small circle of people that I'm partnering with.
Sure.
But yet I do find that, because think about it, even with 3, that's 3 days out of my week, 3 nights out of my week, right? That's it's a commitment for the evening, which is not an hour or 2, right? So
yeah.
And I wonder if it's just a me thing where because I have all these things and ambitions and goals, it just they haunt me. And I was just curious if you had the same experience, if you remember. But I'm also thinking maybe you weren't chasing as many things at that moment in time.
Well, when I was going through what you're going through now, I was in a very similar scenario in the sense of like I had my daughter, as you know, and then I was traveling for work at the time, so I was 1 week here, 1 week in South Texas in the Valley, um, and when I wasn't doing that, and I also had my small fleshling at the time growing exponentially lawn care business, right? Because that's what I ended up hopping over to after the business after I got laid off from the energy company after being with them for a few years. So I was very busy, but one of the things that I kind of like told myself I was going to do is like this is one of the things that was going to be a pillar of my existence, right? Which that's what I think that, and I even told you that because we talked about whenever you were talking about going into this life, you were like, but I don't have a lot of time because I have all these things going on. And I was like,
Right.
but that's the thing, bro. Like living that life requires time. Because I think we had the conversation. I was like, it might be actually on the time perspective, on the time looking at it from the time perspective, it might be better having the one girlfriend that you have a deep relationship with, especially if she's also, a high valued, individual, someone who's also incredibly busy, someone who also has, you know, a net worth she wants to grow and keep. Because I think that if you don't have that, then you have someone who's just laying around waiting for you. That's when the conflict arises, right? But you obviously selected to go down this road, which is a great road that you're on, right? In the sense of like you're having fun and you're still you're not uberly young, but you're reasonably young still and young looking, which is I mean that's what matters. So that was the major difference because we've actually had this conversation before where for me it was one of my pillars. So it was like one of my pillars was being a dad. The other one was being a good employee. The other one was being a I guess
Bachelor, I guess we'll
a
put it like that.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if you're gonna put
Yeah,
this or not,
yeah.
but
So, yeah, we're just gonna put it all on there, right? And the other one was being a bachelor, right? Being and then uh, um, the other one was being a small business owner, right? So like it was four, and this and I operated happily there because I set my life up to revolve around this. At the time, as you know, I wasn't doing music anymore. At the time, I was literally doing nothing else. I was working, dating, taking care of my daughter, and working my side hustle, right? But I mean, I was super happy, man, for a good while. It was really for a good while, and but that's the thing. I didn't teach kids. I didn't have to develop syllabuses for them. I didn't have to, what do you call it, play at a church or multiple churches or multiple venues, right? I didn't have to,
rehearse once a week,
yeah,
learning languages.
yeah, I didn't do any of that. I wasn't learning how to code. I wasn't learning. I was strategically doing these things, and that's it. So each one of those pillars took not an equal amount of time, but a fair amount of time. So I would say my job took 60% of my time. My side hustle, 20. Um, and then the rest, my dog, because I have my daughter every other weekend or first, third, and fifth, right?
I
So
have
what?
one every other week,
Right,
all week.
all week, right? Which that's a dream. We've talked about that. I wish that's what I ended up with, but I have the standard, what most men have the standard custody agreement. So that's when I have my daughter. So when she was with me, and that still happens now, as you know, when she's with me, my calendar is cleared. It's about her, right?
Right.
Seldomly do I do something outside of giving my attention to her or hanging out with her because now she's getting older. So a lot of times she's like, "Dad, forget you. I'm just gonna be doing my own thing," you know. But I'm still there. Like she'll be sitting here or sitting over there or she's in the next room. Like so. So that's the whole thing, man. I think you have to make a decision whether, because I'm assuming that's where you're asking the question from. You have to make a decision. Is this going to be one of the pillars?
Well, it's not for me, but I was just curious if it was a me thing or because that was the issue with my relationships in the past, right? Because I'm with them and I'm doing the relationship thing, but I'm also like, fuck, I should be doing something else. I should be, and so and so now I'm wondering if that's just a part of my person, and that's why maybe I just will never be able to have a relationship because even if I am with someone that's uber successful, whatever you want to call it, and they're not necessarily waiting, but the times that I'm with them, after about an hour or so, I'm like, all right, this is good enough. Like, let me get back to whatever I also need to do. And the thing is that obviously it's an unfair ask of any partner because most individuals in a relationship kind of want to share as much time as they can with their partner. where I think I'm in a weird.
You mean when you're in a relationship, right?
Yeah, when you're in a relationship, right? I get away with it now because I'm not in a relationship in a committed relationship with these people. We all just kind of have a good time when we're together, but that's kind of the extent of it. But that's just I'm noticing this, right? I'm like, okay, this is a me thing. But of course, I'm thinking it's a me thing, but I'm also aware that I don't think this is ever going to go away because this is always my issue. In every relationship I've ever had, this has been the demon in the back of my head, right? That it just tortures me and haunts me. And it's funny because even when I'm with my daughter, it's still there. Because even when I'm with my daughter, I feel like I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a me thing. And so, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is if it is.
Do you ever get
that.
concerned? 'Cause so I have a bad habit of wasting a lot of time. Less now than before. And I guess, as you know, I've had the privilege, I guess, to waste a lot of time. The unjustified privilege of being able to be one of the few people that can, F off pieces of their life, which is, I don't recommend it to anyone, but I guess one of the things that I wonder, man, because I've thought this before and we haven't necessarily touched this exact conversation, but I wonder, do you maybe like lack, do you think maybe one of the things you should work on is being able to live in the moment and not always living for the next? Because I'm sure while you're doing something else that is of relevant importance, you're already thinking about the next thing. So you're never really in the pocket and living and experiencing that thing. So it makes me wonder if, like, on the Colorado trip when we're out there together, are you gonna be like, man, I should be doing this or doing
Oh,
this?
for sure.
Which,
I already know.
okay, and that's fine, right? But then it gets to that point, bro, because you start thinking, well, is it possible that if I'm constantly living this way, then every moment that I have in my life is always sullied or soiled by the next thing? So I never really am happy in what I'm doing? Because you should be allowed to enjoy the company of of a significant other or the company of many people that you're in a relationship with, or MLRs or whatever they call them, right? You should be able to, I don't know, be at dinner and enjoy the dinner with those close to you, right? Because maybe that's one of the things that might not be a bad idea to work on, right? And not saying that you have to give more time to them. No, continue to have your time constraints. But when you're in that window of time, almost like that time blocking, right? You've heard of time blocking, right? Or something like that?
In what sense?
You know how you work in 20-minute intervals, right? Well, recently I started working in 50-minute intervals, just giving that a try. Just giving it a try, right? It's recent. During those 50 minutes, if I am working on this task, I am only thinking of this task. I'm not thinking of anything else. So, for example, let's say you do have a significant other, which you don't, but let's say you do, like that one person. I mean, you're obviously are dating, but you don't have that one girl that you're giving X amount of time to, right? If you have that one person, you say, okay, in this week, I'm willing to give her 5 hours of my time. Let's just say 5 hours. And I can tell her, hey, hun, I got all these things going on, but I have blocked out these 5 hours, 2 on this day, 2 on this day, and 1 on this day. But we have to meet at these exact times. We're not late or whatever. And then during those 2 hours, to tell yourself out the gate, I'm going to be present in that moment and I'm going to be there without distractions. That means if she wants to sit there and talk about the Barbie movie, okay, we're talking about the Barbie movie because that's what she wants to do, because I'm giving her a priority, right? Now, that's if you have a relationship. I'm not saying to go into a relationship, but I'm saying that with anything you do, right? The only thing that might be hard in is with your daughter, especially during summer, because since you have her weeks at a time, it becomes more challenging because you are indulging, a 6-year-old, right? Which makes things different, right? Because a 6-year-old is going to just be off the cuff and doing whatever, right? So it can't be like that, but you can still be like, okay, to my daughter, I'm willing to say I'm going to, out of the 40 hours, let's say whatever waking hours you guys have together during the week, out of those, I'll give her 30% where I have my full dedication to her, and the rest, it'll be scattered while I'm doing other things. That's what I would say. If you're not willing to make certain things pillars, like maybe live in the moment, because you might mess around, man, and you might wake up when you're 50 or 60 and be like, man, I've been living my whole effing life on the next thing every time I'm doing something, and I never really loved or liked anything, and now I'm 60. It could happen.
I mean, it's possible, but
Does that sound crazy?
Only because I wonder if it's one of those things, right, where it's like trying to argue that a fish is gonna look back on his life and say like, man, I swam all my life, so I did. It's but the fish is what you do.
Yeah.
Right. So it is kind of crazy because it's like what. And I wonder if it's one of those things. That's just how I'm programmed, right? So maybe that conversation will never
Could
happen
be.
because when I'm 50, I'll be thinking about the next thing. So I won't have time to be like,
It could be. Maybe I'm trying to impose something that I would live by on you, and then maybe that's my bad.
but no. But now that you're bringing up this 20-minute increment, I wonder if that's kind of, I guess, taught my brain or conditioned my being to work in that, to operate in these parameters. So why I say this is because I can be with someone for an hour or two, and I enjoy the time. But then around that mark is where I'm like, okay, this kind of has to end. Like, I think I need to
But
move
how?
on to something else.
I wonder because you and I spend hours and hours and hours together.
Yeah, but we haven't had sex.
Yeah, we have. No, of course. But so that's I guess
So
that's yeah.
you know,
we
because we have
also
a
grew up together, right?
It's
Yeah,
just a different
it's
dynamic.
different. Yeah, that's true.
Because I will say with my daughter, she's the exception. I can.
Well, that's your flesh and blood,
Right. So it's more than 2 hours, but I do reach that point with her where I'm like, okay, I need to.
I think all parents with all kids, and
Right,
whoever
so-
says they don't, I think they're full of crap. Personally,
Right. But
Because kids could be a.
but I
freaking
was
handful, dude.
noticing this with my special friends, I guess, and but then I was also thinking through this and realizing this has been the case just in general with all the women I've ever been with.
Yeah.
In general, I always have a time where I'm like, okay, I need to get back to my life. I need to get back to myself. I need to get back to me.
Right.
And then the times that I've chosen to ignore it and kind of do what I felt is probably the right thing to do and be with them, and then obviously ends up blowing up in my face at a later point, right? So that's what I was asking because I'm thinking maybe this is a me thing. This is just how my brain is configured, and this is how and it's fine. Like, I don't have an issue with it. It's just something that I was thinking. It's like a mental note to myself.
Yeah.
In the sense of, this is one of the other many reasons why I don't see myself to be able to have a relationship with anyone at any point. I just don't think I have the appetite for it. And even I could love someone dearly, but then it's like after an hour or two, like, okay, bitch, you gotta move. Like, get out of the way. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And the thing is, unfortunately for me, I think I also project a lot of energy. So when people are with me, they can sense that.
You're done.
Yes.
You're ready to call it.
Right. And that, I think that's the most damage because even though I'll say like, oh no, it's fine, whatever, they're like, you're fucking lying to me. Like, you clearly are sick of me already or whatever. And I can see how that's not a good feeling.
Right.
I can see how it's not cool to be around someone that you're getting the sense that they're sick of you. But yet there you are. Right. And they're not telling you to get the fuck out, but you're like, you can feel that. It's in the way you're chewing your chicken. It's like, I get these like, get the fuck out of here vibes.
These are the way you're chewing your chicken. You're giving a road. You're going to get it.
You want to punch me in the face, huh?
You wanna punch- Just be honest, you do. I can feel it. Yeah, you know what? Maybe in just to like reach some finality on that, it could be a you thing, but maybe the way to discover if it is a you thing, it would be if you did give it a shot. If you gave like the whole like again time blocking, like say I'm willing to spend X amount of hours with these women. I'm willing to spend X amount of hours fully focused to my daughter, during the week that I have her. I'm willing to spend X amount of hours doing these things that maybe are outside of the realms, outside of your core concepts that are like building your business and so on and so forth, like getting better at coding and learning the languages or whatever. Because maybe if you tried that, then maybe what will happen is you could reprogram yourself by building the habit and saying, oh, actually, I am enjoying this now. Like I am able to focus XYZ on time. Because I think the reason you are the way you are also is through years of habit building. So it might not be that that's how you are. It might just be your habits. But at the same time, I think Alex Hormozi said this. He's a big time business owner, owns acquisition.com. I'm breaking that out because I know you've never heard of him, but he pretty much talks about that. He talks about like he doesn't if a friend asks him, hey, can you help me move? He's like, no. Hey, you want to come out this weekend? No. Hey, you want to go? No. He's like, because he's like, no, I want to build this business. I want to write my book. I want to do this. I want to do that. And he's achieved stratospheric success by behaving this way. And then the way it looks like is like he's nowhere near done because he wants to be a billionaire and he's on the road to that. And so maybe you have that mindset, right? And of course, not saying that you and his mindset is identical, but maybe that piece of it where you're like, no, you're always looking you're always looking to build, always looking at the, always looking at the next thing, always looking at the next thing. Like I'm on this, but I'm already thinking of the next task or whatever. Maybe that is what it takes to reach that stratospheric success. So I don't want to discourage you from that. I'm just saying maybe if you tried a little bit and allowed yourself a little bit of leisure, because I'm sure he does. I'm sure because he goes to dinner with his wife. He does have a best friend, and so he may not sit there and give us an itinerary of what he does with his time, but I'm sure to his best friend he does give him time, right? I'm sure to his wife he does give her time, right? And apparently he goes like on a walk with her every night, because that's part of his cardio. So he'll go like on a 30, 40 or hour long walk with her. So like I'm sure they're there breaking down their days and talking to each other and building that loving relationship, right? So even in the most stringent of calendar requirements or setups, people do take some joy. I just don't know if maybe you don't. Maybe that's just something you don't value, you don't care to have, which that's okay because it's your life, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't even like running.
But
much less walking.
right.
But I mean, I do
But that's
run.
the
I
point,
do
right?
jog.
So I guess
But
take that not take that advice, but take what I said, however you want, and if you want to give that a shot. But I think when it comes to that, you'll have to be that person that if you want to do some trials and some tests and see if that's something that works.
Obviously not now. I don't have. First of all, I don't have anyone in mind that I would have any real interest in trying to do that with. Number one. Number two, even if I did, I don't know if I'd be willing to gamble with that.
Yeah.
Right, because it is a gamble. I think
is, yeah, it is.
you and then you're investing time, which is a renewable resource,
Yeah.
and that also equates to money, and then literally money because you guys are going and eating. You know, whatever you're doing, it all costs money.
Right.
Right. So the one curiosity I do have, I wonder if I'll reach a point, and it probably will never happen, where I'm like, I'm happy where I'm at. I can take a pause here. Let me see. Like, I guess you kind of, you know how people when they climb mountains, they'll like have like a base where they kind of, I guess, rest for the night. I don't really know. I never climbed a mountain, but I've kind of heard like they'll go to a certain
Base
elevation,
camp.
they have a base camp, then they kind of elevate again, they have another. So I wonder if I'll have some equivalent, analogous in my life where I'm like, I hit a point where I'm like, okay, cool. I've worked, nonstop, moving on to the next thing, and I'm at a point where, okay, cool. Now I have, I guess, one could argue an abundance of time now because I've reached a milestone. I can kind of ease off the gas for a year or two. I wonder if I'll reach that, and I wonder maybe in that point when I still have this issue. I wonder if it maybe at that point.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's something I was thinking about.
Well,
because
according to what I understand, when it comes to mountain climbing, and I could be wrong if, so I could be wrong, but according to what I understand, the reason why they have certain base camps at certain levels is because they have to stop there for their body to acclimate to the next elevation sector, right? So I think maybe that would be a good example of the way that we look at business growth, because essentially if they were to keep going endlessly, that could cause their body to burn out, right? Their body to suffer unnecessary damage. So maybe looking at it that way is probably the good way to saying, okay, we need to have those to acclimate to this new level that we're in. So we should take a pause and kind of take a breather and assess, because that also might allow you to, because for example, I think there's been a few times, bro, in my life with the businesses that I've had, although they weren't, amazing successes, but I think if I would have taken a few of those times and actually sat down and not only sought counsel, but also took a step back and viewed my business from a bird's eye view instead of up close, I might have seen like, oh man, this business is poised to add X amount of employees. Oh, I should take a step back from the hands-on and let someone else do this while I handle, another piece of the business, right? Or instead of growing this way, oh, maybe it's not smart, maybe grow that way, right? And I think that was my mistake because I was always in it, like too in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be bad, right? So, but then but who knows, man? So I think it all goes back to that. That might be a good way to you bringing up that base camp analogy might be the best way for it to go. But maybe like you said, maybe if in the future, even though you're not looking for a relationship, and I respect that, in the future, if you do meet somebody that you feel that is, I don't want to say worthy, but is you feel that you're willing to give them more time, then I don't think that be maybe at that point you can give it a trial run on this, like
Theory.
the time blocking and saying I'm willing to give her this amount of time and make it clear to her that that's what we're willing to do. But that can definitely be something we can touch on, in the future if that ever occurs. If not, then I guess proceed as planned. But
Well, I mean,
that
right now I don't even have the time, right? So
absolutely, absolutely.
I haven't even been meeting new people because I just don't have time to fit anybody new into my
Yeah.
schedule. I mean, I'm struggling
No, I
as
understand.
it is now.
But that being said, I know we're getting pretty up there. And,
Oh crap! How long have we been on this thing?
so we've been on for an hour and 40. Now,
Fuck.
remember, we're going to have to chop because we did keep filming while we took a bathroom break, which I'll chop that out. We also kept filming, and I'll probably chop this out here. We also kept filming while we got up to get the lights to trigger again because they keep, obviously, since they're on the sensor. But that being said, to bring this, I guess, to a closure, which our masterminds won't traditionally go this long. I think this was the first one, and we're kind of finding structure and stuff like that. So this will probably go for like 30 minutes to an hour, I'm sure, on average. Especially, if we're meeting criteria and we're growing, right? Because that's the thing. If we're having to come and say the same things as we said last meeting, then that's gonna be annoying pretty fast. But that being said, man, so it looks like both of us have some accountability metrics that we have put on here to work towards this week. It seems like mine are a little bit more near term than some of yours, right? But I mean, you do have that one
Yeah, I
character SVG deliverable. You have the 3 chapters, and then you have the soft deadline. Well,
do the math around the
launch. So
Yeah.
I guess you can try to come with a schedule. And of course, I have the just to recap, I have the look into hero's journey. Also do one storytelling course from here to the next meetup. I have acquired at least one new customer, and track the metrics of that procedure, as well as go to the gym 6 days a week, right? And then also look into how to become a better boyfriend and have a more happy relationship overall, and come up with a few steps that I want to implement by next meeting. So, is there anything that you want to say before we go ahead and cut this and call it?
No.
Awesome, man. All right, well, cool. That was perfect. Hey guys, thank you for joining us on our first podcast for, I guess we haven't really titled it, but I'm sure by the time you see this video, there will be a title. But I think we're going to call it something along the lines of, what do you think? What would be a good name? Probably like Success Coach Meetups or something like that. I don't know. It's going to be something goofy. But or maybe we can think of something else once
I was thinking more like the thrust that bust the nut.
Maybe it'll be the Thrust and Buzz the Nut podcast, which sounds awesome, but also kind of weird to put up there. But I really like it. The Thrust and Buzz the Nut. But thank you guys for joining us. We're gonna try to put one of these up every couple of weeks. We're planning to meet twice a month, and the whole purpose of this is for us to, again, not just grow as individuals, but also hold each other accountable when it comes to our goals, so that we can reach the levels of success that we want to achieve. We definitely have the potential, but I think sometimes I'll speak for myself. I personally don't do everything I need to be doing in order to achieve those. And like Oscar mentioned, he just kind of wants to, fine tune everything a little bit. So I really appreciate y'all sticking around to the end of the podcast. And I am looking forward to, again, putting an episode up every couple of weeks. Hope you guys can join the journey and I guess see how everything goes. All right. Thanks, y'all.